Hello, YouTube.
Hello, world.
I just had a coffee up and decaf for quite a while and it's like, woohoo!
What are we doing, love?
Welcome to Big OGGIE's world. And today we are doing a recipe. It happens to be cooked in a slow cooker, but I'm not doing it because it's a slow cooker recipe. I'm doing it because it's a nice recipe and we fancied it for our tea.
Yeah.
But it just happens to be cooked in a slow cooker, so that's bonus as far as I'm concerned. It's come from the Good Food Bank Holiday Bonanza, which is this month's Good Food magazine. And we are doing Coq Au Vin.
Coq Au Vin. I love Coq Au Vin.
Now, we have had some comments on some of our slow cook recipes saying, why do you have to fry it all? Why are you frying things off? And the basic reason is because if you don't add colour to things that you put in a slow cooker, they come out more or less exactly the same as you put them in. And with a chicken recipe, this one in particular, we are using chicken thighs with the skins on. So if you don't brown them first, when you get them out, they are going to be white and slimy.
Yeah, they look like they've been sunbathing out today on the May Bank holiday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Nasty.
Nasty. The other thing about frying things in before you put things into a slow cooker is when slow cookers first became popular, quite a while back now, everything you put into that slow cooker had to be preheated beforehand, because that way when you put everything in, it's already hot and it doesn't have to wait for an hour or so for your slow cooker to get up to the right temperature. So this, from what I can see, is an old recipe because absolutely everything has to be heated beforehand.
We call it a traditional recipe.
It's a traditional recipe. So there is a lot of frying off to be done. It's not a case of just bunging it in. It's going to take you a while to put this together. But let's face it, a Coq Au Vin is a good recipe. It's a lovely recipe, brilliant tea, and we're going to have it with mashed potatoes. So what's more perfect than that? So now I've explained that, we will crack on. So to start off with, you need to preheat a pan and take half of your butter and melt it basically. Now this first lot that you're going to do is to brown your chicken skin. So you're going to melt your butter, go in with your chicken thighs, skin side down, and get a good colour on them. So this is going to take time, and I'm definitely going to have to do it in batches because my pan's not that big. But I would recommend you did it in batches anyway, because you'll fry them quicker if there's more space around. Otherwise they just steam all together and you get a load of watery stuff and then it takes ages. So let's get this going and get our chicken thighs in. Now I guess if you don't like thighs, you could do this with breasts, but actually nowadays I am finding it really difficult to find breasts with skin still attached.
Yeah, most of it kind of health conscious.
Yeah,
and skin.
they take the skin off.
And I also think if you use chicken breast on this, it probably kind of fall apart a bit. The whole point about Coq Au Vin was, well, let's be honest, it was a cockerel at some point, I guess, and was a bit of a tough old bird, and it was a slow cook job, which is literally why I use a slow cooker.
The weird thing is, now I've seen cockerel.
Yeah,
you can buy it, but my god, they're expensive.
Yeah, well, they're big things.
Yeah, but you know, like you said, it's a tough old bird, and never mind. Anyway, so I reckon if you want to do a breast, you can probably do it with breasts, and I reckon you most likely have to go to your butcher's to get chicken breasts with skin still attached. And you need the skin because that's going to protect the meat and it gives more flavour and it'll be extra lovely. If, I mean, I think chicken thighs are quite an economical cut, but if you wanted to go even cheaper, I think you could probably just use legs.
Yeah, legs work with this, legs, wings, everything.
So,
I think it's kind of on a bone, really.
Yeah, so you could just use that. This recipe is for 4 people, So you're going to need, well, it says 8 thighs, but I've just bought a packet of thighs from Sainsbury's. There ain't 8 in there, but that's fine because it's only going to be me and John eating it. There's actually 6 in there, I think, maybe 7. So I'm going to brown my chicken, and when I've browned it, I will show you how brown you need it to be, but you don't need to stand there and watch me do it. So maybe make yourself a cup of tea or something, and I'll be back in a short while. So that took a while, but
put your penny on, love.
Yeah, I put my penny on because it starts getting a bit splatty, and I got zapped in the face by fat, and I hate that. Anyway, I left some on a plate so that you can see the type of colour that you need. Okay, so it's no good just like searing it a little bit. You need to get some colour on it. So once you've done that, it goes into the slow cooker. Now my slow cooker is already on, preheating. And actually in that packet of chicken thighs there was 8. Some big ones, some little ones. In it goes anyway, in goes the juice. Now, in the same pan that you have used for your chicken, still with the buttery, chickeny juices, you then need to fry your bacon lardons. They must be smoked until they go nice and crispy. Well, as crispy as you like. I'm not that keen on really like burnt up bits, but anyway, bacon's the next to go in.
If you don't buy a packet of lardons, just get some thick cut bacon and cut in bits.
Yeah, but I think you'll probably find that lardons are actually cheaper than buying it like by piece.
They probably are now because they're so popular, so you can get them anywhere now, can't you?
But try and make sure they're smoked, unless obviously you've got a bad aversion to smoked bacon, then use any. Right, so I'm going to cook these, and again I'll be back. So bacon's done, and that's gone into the slow cooker, and still in the same pan with the same fats from the chicken and the bacon and everything else. You are now going to add your baby onions, or if you can't get them, smallish shallots will do, but you need to sort of leave them whole, and be careful how you put them in because otherwise it's going to splash everywhere.
They took some prep, didn't they? They were both crying their eyes out.
Yeah, these are shallots. I'm not sure whether onions would have been any better, but yes, it took 2 of us and a lot of tears.
It's quite tricky getting baby onions. The amount of recipes that say small onions, and you really think they're the little silver skin, tiny
little
onions, but you can't get them very easily. So.
Also into that go your carrots. Again, leave them chunky. But this is a hearty sort of casserole.
It's a posh stew.
It is a posh stew.
It's a posh French stew.
Right. So we're going to cook those for a few minutes until you start to get some colour, and then we'll come back to the next bit. Right, so my onions and carrots are browned, and I'm going to put them into the slow cooker. And it all goes. So next in the pan goes our garlic, and you need 2 cloves. As you all know, if you've been around any length of time, we use garlic paste because I just find it easier. Give that a little stir around for a minute or so. Like that. And then you add in your flour. Give that a good stir around, and you're going to get like a paste type thing. Sort of like a sandy type paste. Now because you've cooked everything in this pan, it's all flavour. Okay. Now we are going to stir in our tomato puree. We need a nice tablespoon of that. Stir that through. Try and mash out your puree so it's sort of all mixed in. Keep it moving because you don't want anything to burn, but you do want it sort of boiling basically. And once you've done that, that goes straight over your chicken and stuff in the slow cooker. Okay, so the next thing now, into that pan you are going to pour your red wine.
Size on the amount of red wine, I reckon it's most of a bottle.
It's almost a bottle. I think it's a bottle and a little bit for the chef, that's what I think. And your chicken stock. And that goes. And you need to bring those two things to the boil. And you can actually use that to deglaze your pan. So you get all the good bits off. Turn it up, bring it to the boil, then that goes into the slow cooker and you give it a mix around at that point. Try and sort of combine it. And then you're going to leave it. So you can cook this, let me check. You can do it on high for 3 to 4 hours. If you've got a medium, which we don't on ours, but if you do have a medium, you can do 5 to 6 hours on a medium. Or if you want to put it on low, you can do 7 to 8 hours. It says to check it a couple of times and give it a stir, but no more than twice, because you sort of don't want to break things up. And obviously, the more cooked through the onions get, if you keep bashing them around, they're just going to split up. So give it a little stir, but not too many.
Now we have mushrooms also to go in. But they go in late, don't they?
Yes, they do. So about an hour or so before the end of your cooking time, you need to take the rest of your butter and you are going to fry your mushrooms in butter until, you know, give them 5 minutes or so till they start colouring, and then you add that into your casserole about an hour before the end of cooking time. The thing with mushrooms is if you put them in too quickly, like if we put them in now, you wouldn't even recognise them as a mushroom at the end. They would just be slimy, pappy things. So there is a reason for it, and I know it's a pain to have to go back, but it is, you know, if you're going to cook it for 7 to 8 hours, you have got sort of 6 hours or so where you don't have to do anything at all. So once this liquid goes in, we're also going to add our herbs, which is 2 bay leaves and a sprig of thyme.
We've got fresh thyme.
We have.
I know it's behind you, I don't know if people can see you've got fresh and dried by the foot, but
I've got fresh thyme. There's my thyme from the garden, and a couple of dry bay leaves.
oh, it's bay leaves in there, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I've got fresh bay leaves, but they're not looking so great at the minute, so I'll use dried for
In
now.
our weather, that's not surprising.
No, it isn't. But the thyme's doing well, and actually the thyme is flowering at the minute. So it survived the winter, whoop whoop. My wine is boiling. I'm going to pour it in and give it a mix and then add my herbs.
I will say it smells amazing right now.
It's a nice thickness already, so that's great. So in goes, I'm just going to nestle it on the top, the lump of thyme.
I think the technical chefy term is a sprig or a bunch nub, not a nump.
A nub. I said a nub.
Oh, did I? It's a lump. I do apologise.
2 bay leaves. And there we go. So I am going to cook mine on low. There we go. And we will be back in about 6 hours. So see you all then. So we are about an hour, hour and a half away from our tea, from it being ready. So now's the time to sort out the mushrooms. Excuse me hair, I've been in the garden, it's a bit breezy out there.
It's always breezy here.
Absolutely. So you're going to take the other half of your butter that you started with this morning, pop that into your pan, melt it down, and then you're going to fry off your button mushrooms. It's button chestnut mushrooms because they've got more taste than just plain white ones. And you need to leave them whole, so they're not very big anyway. I think that's probably about the biggest. And then they go right down to dinky ones like this little tiny one there.
I think the whole point about this casserole or whatever you want to call it is they are large chunky pieces, isn't it?
Absolutely. So you should, I mean, we're having mashed potato with ours. And as you know, there's carrots, there's baby onions, there's
it's a substantial thing.
Mushrooms. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the chicken thighs, there are 8 in there. I would say for 4, that is a substantial meal. 2 chicken thighs and the veg.
Plenty of veg.
Absolutely, yeah. With it. I think realistically there's going to be 4 plus leftovers.
Yeah, and it's the sort of thing you can do this all year round.
You can, and you can also freeze it.
Yeah.
So if you do have too much and you want to batch cook it up, or you know, if there's only 2 of you, you make the full recipe for 4 and freeze half of it, and then you've got another lot later on, you can do that. That's not a problem. Obviously you just need to let it cool before you try sticking it in a bag or a container to freeze it down, but it isn't a problem. Get some heat going here. The smell in this house is just amazing. John made a banana bread cake thing as well this afternoon. And that smells delicious too. I think that's one of the benefits of having a food channel, is that the house quite often smells of delicious food. The downside is crumbs. Crumbs. The one thing I hate in a kitchen is crumbs, and there always seems to be crumbs in my kitchen. So I'm going to give these a 5-minute whirl around until they cook up a bit, and then I'm going to add them into the casserole.
I was in the back room and I heard you say I made some banana bread something or other.
Banana bread cake
thing. Thanks for that. I make a thing.
What is it? I don't know if it's bread or cake.
Banana bread is fine, but it can be a cake. I'm just used to all my food being called things. It's a thing, you know.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's John's thing. So up to now I've given the casserole 1 stir, but once I put the mushrooms in I will do so again. So I'll give you a shout in a minute when I've done this. Okay, so our mushrooms are now done, and I'm just going to take them over and put them into the casserole.
Now we've said this before about slow cookers and the fact that you need to kind of, leave the lid off sometimes and thicken up the actual sauces or the gravies because they're a bit thin.
Yeah.
But, like you said, that's actually coming out really well.
Yeah, it's a really good one. So I am going to
Hit some buttons.
Yeah.
Bear with.
There we go. And that's it now. We'll leave it for another hour and it will be done. So we will show you when we dish it up.
Yeah.
There will be a picture. Obviously we're going to be eating it, so we will just do a picture so that you can see it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you'll give it a go. I know it's a bit faffy to start off with, but it is one of those traditional dishes, and I think once you've done it, you'll be really pleased that you have done it. And if you can, double up or batch cook it so that you've got another portion in the freezer for another day, then maybe it's not such a big deal in the first place. So I'm sure all the hard work will be worth it. If you do like it and you do try it, let us know. Give us a thumbs up for this video if you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you have, thank you very much. It's really important. Hit the notification bell so that you know when we're around. We're getting out at least 3 videos a week at the minute, and we've got lots and lots of stuff coming up for you also. Go over to Facebook if you happen to be on Facebook. There is a public page over there that you can join, you know, if you like, or if you don't like, you can just pop in and have a look. There are people usually sort of sharing their recipes and what they're doing over there, and it's a bit more of a community over there. We sort of keep an eye on that page and try to interact with you a bit more over there. We're also on TikTok, Big OGGIE World, and Instagram also. So I'm sure you'll find us in one or all of those places, and we thank you for joining us. So we'll see you all again very soon. Bye for now.